we may never see these Bitcoin prices again. Welcome to Degenny from the blockchain, where we defy logic. I was just thinking about these recent bank issues going on globally now, and how users' funds are not there. And these banks are just getting bailed out, or the US government is just printing money out of thin air. They just printed $300 billion for these failed banks. And where did that money come from? I mean, we're not just finding $300 billion worth of gold all of a sudden and just saying, hey, now we can print $300 billion worth of more money and then just give it to these banks. That's not happening. In what logical society or what logical world would that even make sense to just print that much money just to save a few companies because they messed up, or that our whole financial system is messed up? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And this is why Bitcoin will never see these levels again, because what's happening? People are flowing into Bitcoin now from all these centralized bank issues. People are taking what they can of their hard-earned money and what they thought was a safe place to put it. And I think that they're flowing it right into Bitcoin. And that's why Bitcoin is rising in price. Because when we were in the 2021 bull run, remember, Bitcoin was around 69,000. And we were saying at that time, oh, if Bitcoin ever went below 30,000, there's no way it could go below 30,000. And if it does, I'm going to mortgage my house and I'm going to refinance. I'm going to sell a kidney and I'm going to put as much money as I can into Bitcoin. And what happened? We had the 2022 downfall, the bear market, and we saw a roughly $15,000 Bitcoin. And we were saying as a community, I think, that around 30,000, anything below that is a crazy good buy for Bitcoin. And we have that super supportive level at 28,500 that we broke through in 2022. And now we're kind of leveling back up to it and we can't break it. But once we do, I don't think we're ever seeing Bitcoin prices in the 20,000s again. Here's why. Because of the beginning part of this video where everybody's moving their money from the banks into Bitcoin, or, I use that loosely, not everybody is, but maybe a lot of the uptick in Bitcoin comes from people in fear that their money is not safe in a bank. So we see Bitcoin rising up, and what's going to happen in a year? We're going to see the Bitcoin halving. So this is a supply and demand shock that happens that is actually not typical supply and demand. When you think about this, Bitcoin, the demand goes up, but the supply goes down. Isn't that crazy to think about? So typically in supply and demand, you have the demand for something go up, so the supply is going to go up. They're going to make more of that product to match the demand, and everybody's happy. But what happens with Bitcoin? Bitcoin goes up, and then the supply halves. It actually goes down. So we have this anomaly, or we have this paranormal event of supply going down when demand is going up, which could make Bitcoin go parabolic, which is why I don't think we're going back below 30,000 once we break this 28,500 resistance. And again, I remind you, when we were at the top of the bull run, or even going up to 40, 50, 60, close to $70,000 per Bitcoin, we were saying, oh man, we missed a great opportunity to buy. We're still, even with this massive pump up to 28,000-ish, it's still a great time to buy, right? Because remember, going back to 2021, we were saying, I wish I could get Bitcoin below 30,000. So again, to wrap up this video, my point is that people are going on bank runs, moving their money into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin can't be reproduced or reprinted the way that the money in the United States is just printed out of thin air. Hey, here's a bailout. Here's billions of dollars. Oh, did you find billions of dollars worth of gold? No, because that gold standard is done decades ago. It's not the gold standard anymore, but are we heading towards a Bitcoin standard? I think we are. And you can't print more Bitcoin. So as the supply, or as the demand of Bitcoin goes up, the supply actually goes down, creating this shock in the market of what I might call inverse supply and demand that's going to make Bitcoin go parabolic. And once we break the resistance of 28,500, we're not coming back below 30,000. Because again, if you remember in 2017, we went up to $20,000. I wasn't in the market then, but doing research, goes up to $20,000 as the top of the previous bull run in 2017. And once we broke that and went up to 70,000 in the 2021 bull run, dropping down 85% typically is what happens, which would have brought us towards a $10,000 Bitcoin. But things are changing. We don't get as parabolic returns in Bitcoin, and we don't get as heavy crashes in Bitcoin, I guess we can put it. So again, if we hit $100,000, let's say, in the next bull run for Bitcoin, we're not going to crash down 85%. We're not going to crash down 75%. Maybe we only crash down 65% because the diminished returns and the diminished crashes are starting to equalize. So once we break out of this $30,000, $28,500 resistance because of the diminished crashes after a bull run, we're not going to get back down to these levels. So again, bank runs, people putting their cash into Bitcoin, raises up Bitcoin right now is my speculation. Then the next bull run happens, and we have yes, diminished returns maybe, but we could probably break that at some point, but we're definitely having diminished crashes. So we won't go below 30,000 again. And then lastly, that is all due to the Bitcoin halving that's going to bring demand up and supply down, creating this parabolic shock in the market. With all those things put together, that's why I believe Bitcoin will never see these levels again, even after the pump it's had. Could it still be a good time to get into Bitcoin? I think it's always a good time to get into Bitcoin, especially because that could be the future of the way we see money and how we move money around and pay for things. And it starts with Bitcoin, but crypto as a whole. That is my blockchain reaction. This is not financial advice. Thank you for watching. Hey, thank you for watching to the very end. And before you go, please subscribe to the channel, crank up that like button, drop a comment and share the video. If you want to join me on the VEUIT platform, the Web3 streaming platform, I'm going to migrate all my content over there and create new content on the blockchain. My referral link is in the description below.